American Rye Whiskey, I have to say, it's up there on my list of what I enjoy. I do enjoy a good rye whiskey, good rye ale. I just love the taste of rye. So in this video, we're going to make our rye whiskey, but if you remember in the video before about coming up with recipes, that's how we ended up getting our quantities for this recipe. And so we're going to put it to the test. First thing I have to say is, hey, sorry for the background noise. It is pouring down rain here. But it is what it is, right? Okay, but first things first. Welcome to Stillworks and Brewing. My name is Randy, and this is a channel that's all about home distillation and brewing. Okay, so just a very touch on the history of rye. I mean, everything that I read, it was all over the place. But the best I could come up with to put together was in the late 1700s, early 1800s, a lot of Scottish and Irish immigrants was in the mid-Atlantic area of the United States. And of course they brought their grains with them, and they brought their their recipes with them, to produce their spirits. But when they planted barley, they had a hard time back then to grow barley. But the rye they planted, it just loved the soil, so it grew really, really well. So with that being said, they ended up starting to make their recipes very heavy on the rye. And of course, American Rye Whiskey, it was born. Okay. So, what is an American Rye Whiskey? Well, American Rye Whiskey is just like a lot of your recipes. Since it's called a rye, it has to be at least 51% corn, and then the rest of it can be whatever they choose. Okay, it usually is not distilled over 160 proof coming out of the still, and it don't go in the barrel any higher than 125 proof. And just like bourbons and whiskeys, it's done in a new charred white oak barrel. Okay, and then a fun fact that I did read, and I thought this was very interesting. I didn't really believe it, but in 1810, Kentucky produced 2.2 million barrels, 2.2 million gallons of bourbon, and in Pennsylvania they produced 6.5 million gallons of rye whiskey. I just thought that was kind of interesting. I wouldn't have thought that. Okay. Okay, just a recap of the ingredients from our video that we designed this recipe after is, number one, I have some yellow dent corn. It is just feed corn, yellow dent corn, which I've milled it. Okay, so that's 39% of the grain bill, which equals to 7.8 pounds. Okay. So the next thing I have is malted barley. This is 6-row malted barley, which has been milled. All right. And the star of the show, did I say that's 10%? And it is 2 pounds, okay, of the barley. And the star of the show is the rye. This is malted rye. It's 51% of the grain bill, which equals that to 10.2 pounds. All right. Okay, with this much rye and this much corn, I do foresee problems. It's number one, corn, it's kind of like oatmeal, and it will get real thick and gooey, and same with the rye. Rye will get real thick and gooey like oatmeal too. So we have a challenge here, but we'll get through it. Alrighty. So I have hot water warming up. I have, like I said before, my corn is milled. So we'll get our mash tun out. So once the water's boiling, we're going to cook that corn. Okay? So I'll be back. So while our water in our brew pot's warming up to a boil, we're getting our mash tun ready. So basically what I'm going to do this time is I got a false bottom. And I'm going to put that in the bottom here. And then what I will use is my mash. This is a boil in the bag. Okay, I use this. It's just a fine nylon bag. You're meant to take the hot liquid. A lot of people use them for making beer. I just only use it to strain everything out. So we're almost ready to go. The water just starting to get ready to boil. I'll give it a couple more minutes. Then we'll come back and we're going to start cooking our corn. Time to cook our corn. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I got some boiling water here. I'm going to dip some out. Put it in my mash tun. I'll probably put in a couple gallons, probably about 3. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to mix in my corn, okay? I think corn adds a sweetness to a mash. Ooh, I'm gonna have to. There's one bag of the corn. I think with the false bottom I have to add a little more water. Everything getting steamy. I normally use my pump water over. You give all that a good stir. Make sure all the corn is nice and wet. And it is going to get thick. It is going to get thick. I mean, it's already starting to thicken up. I mean, if you can see, it's getting thick. That's okay. Make sure it's all nice and wet. Alright, so what I want to do right now, I'm going to just take a temperature reading. Okay, it dropped to 167, so I wanted to add a little bit more boiling water in. But I want to get that temperature up a little bit. What was? Let's retake temperature. I can't see. It's 175. Let me just put a little bit more hot water in there. Okay. Ooh, hot. Alrighty, so let's give that a cover up and we will give it an hour and a half. So I'll be back in an hour and a half. Alrighty, it's been an hour and a half. It's time to add our other grains. Okay, so nice and thin. Alright, so I got the 2 pound, or the, what do I got? I got 2 pounds of the barley. So get that mixed in. And if you got to add some more water, you can add some more water. All right, so now 10.2 pounds of the rye. I do love the smell of the rye. That much of it stirred in. I might have to add some more hot water. I'm going to get the temperature back up to, well, right around 155. That's the because it will drop putting all this grain in there. Let me get wow, a lot of noise. Okay, there's all the rye in there. Let me get that good stir. Then we'll check our double check our temperature. It's going to get kind of thick with all that corn and all that rye in there. Okay, let's double check our temperature and turn it on. It is 156. I'm going to leave it right there because she will cool down. Alright, put the lid on this. We're going to set our timer for an hour and a half and let them enzymes in that rye and in that barley start converting them starches over into sugars. Okay, so we'll be back in an hour and a half. Alrighty, it's been an hour and a half. Let's just let's do a starch test. It is pretty thick. We'll put this, get a little liquid sample. Alright, and a drop of iodine. Let me bring this over to you. I'm going to bring the camera down. A little shaking. Okay, so there's our sample. Put a drop of iodine in it. See, it's not coal black. You give it a little shake, it pretty much goes back to the same color. So I would say it's the conversion is taking place. Alright, so what I want to do now is we're going to start sparging this over into our fermentation bucket. Okay, there's a couple different ways of sparging. I've mentioned it in the past. You got number one, a fly sparge, which you keep putting hot water on top and it will keep going down through the grains, and then you maintain hot water on top of the grains, and it will try to flush the sugars out of the grains. Or there's the other type of sparge, would be called a batch sparge. So we'll put hot water in there, give it a little stir, drain it out, and keep doing that until we collect the amount of mash in our fermentation bucket. Okay, so let me get my fermentation bucket set up, and I'll be right back. The first thing we want to do is get some hot water onto these grains. Alright, so then what we want to do is give them a good stir. Now hot water is going to help release some of them sugars in that is around all the grains. We'll wash them away. Ow! Get all that goodness out of them grains. Okay, got that mixed up. Let me put you down here so you can see. Alright, let's start the I sure can smell the rye. Okay, let me sparge this off until I collect 6 gallons, and then we'll move on. Can't quit running, so let me put a little more hot water on top of them grains. Give them a quick stir. You'll wash all that sugar out. Sugar and flavor. Alright, what I'll do is I'm going to give that a couple seconds, or a few minutes, and I'll start draining it out again. Okay, I got it all done sparging. Here comes the moment of truth. See how close we got to our target. I mean, alright, let's see what we got. Okay, we are looking, it's either 186 or 187. I'll live with that. 1.0, I'm going to say 86, or 187, 1.087. I'm happy with that. Alright, that means that we were pretty close on our numbers. I like that. Okay, so what's next? Alright, so what I will do, let's check the temperature, because I think it's going to still be a little bit too warm. Yeah, I'm at still 120 degrees. So So what I will do is I'll just stick the lid on it, stick it in the fermentation room, let it cool down below 90, and then I'm going to add in 2 to 3 tablespoons of Daddy's yeast, and it will take, you know, a week to 10 days usually to ferment out. Oh, it's very, very sweet. Ooh, it tastes good too. So, all right. Okay, so I'm really looking forward to this rye whiskey. I think it's going to be fantastic. Okay, so, hey, there is something you can do for us. And I know you hear it all the time, but it's worth repeating. And I haven't said this in a while. There's 5 things you can really do for us. You can do one of them. You could do some of them. You could do all of them. It will all be, really, really appreciated. Number 1, hit that subscribe button. Number 2, hit that notification bell. 3, share it with your friends so everybody can enjoy it. If you really like what you see, give us a thumbs up. And please leave a comment and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Alrighty? So, I got this mash tun full of grains. It still has a little bit of sweetness to it. I got an idea. Okay, but I'll let you know. So the last thing I got to say is, hey, thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you next time here on Stillworks and Brewing. Cheers, everybody. Awesome, awesome, awesome.